GM Pat, we're live. We are live. Welcome to the show, GM Pat.
Thanks, Mike. Welcome to the show yourself.
I'm excited to see if we can get Mike Trout his ring.
Yeah, this is an idea we've talked about for a little while in terms of in both real life and out of the park. It's frustrating to see the best player not ever win a championship, and sometimes not even be on a competitive team. So yeah, this will be fun. So the mission will be one season.
Just if you choose to accept it.
Yeah, not a whole franchise with the Angels to see how we can build them to get them a ring. I'm talking one season to get them a ring. So I'm even thinking we don't fund minor leagues or the draft or anything.
We go all in on free agents. We don't plan for the future. We get them his ring.
Yeah, they've got some top prospects. Like if we can trade them for superstars now, we do it.
Okay, awesome. And you're going to share OOTP 21 on your screen while we try to do this. And then we're up on your channel right now. We've got the comments open if people want to jump in and heckle or encourage. And I'm going to do our normal plug for my own channel, which is now home of the San Juan Zephyrs.
Yeah, great team.
One of baseball's newest teams. I'm going to throw that in the chat because I want to self-promote as much as possible on Pat's channel for my channel. I'll also promote this beer I'm drinking. It's a Pilsner from the great state of Maryland. So good. So good. I've had it before. I didn't need to do that taste, just to let you guys know. But, yeah.
I'm drinking a Coca-Cola.
What's that?
I'm drinking a Coca-Cola.
Probably canned in Maryland, or somewhere on the eastern.
I only have 2 beers in the house, and they're both coffee stouts, and I didn't feel like making that kind of commitment at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah, well, do you have off tomorrow?
Yeah, but I don't feel like drinking that heavy of a beer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, and the other thing I was going to mention when I talked about the San Juan Zephyrs, if anybody doesn't follow them, they're a team I'm playing where I've added promotion and relegation to Major League Baseball. So they were promoted from a lower league in their first season, and now they're trying to stick in the majors. So I also have a video on my channel where I talk about I walk through how to set up promotion and relegation. If anybody's interested in adding a soccer feature to their OOTP broadcasts. And that's it for my plug.
Well, Jamal had a question there in the comments. You want to address that before we jump into Mike Trout?
Yeah. So you have not played Football Manager yet, right, Pat?
I have not.
I've played both. I have a lot less experience with Football Manager, but I did play it I'd say I got into it in 2020. And there are similarities in that it's a strategy game. You manage a team, and they are similar in the sense that if you love sports strategy games and really running a team and things that are statistical in nature and not as much about the gameplay, that I'd say they are similar, but just different in a big way, though, just the way the two sports are different. And then I've talked about this on my channel. I think it's episode number 3 of my show, Fake Sports Dynasties. We did a whole thing comparing features of Football Manager with features of OOTP and some things we'd like to see each game kind of carry over into the other. But they're both cool games. I'd say that the other thing I'd mention is on Football Manager, the gameplay is a lot more advanced at this point than OOTP. But like Pat and I have talked about before, when we play these kind of games, we're not in it for the gameplay, from a graphic standpoint. If we want that, we'll go play games on like a Xbox or PlayStation. We're getting into these games because we like the statistical side of things and the analytics.
Right. If I want to throw my controller through the TV because of frustrating gameplay, I'll go play NHL 21 on PlayStation.
Exactly. Do you have NHL 21 now? You have the newest version?
Yeah, I haven't really played it though. I was planning on doing some streaming on my channel with it of like a franchise mode, but I ran into some hiccups with like recording it, and I know how to do it, I think, but I just haven't taken the time.
And you've been busy running the fake Orioles, trying to
Right. It takes time to build a team that never wins in October.
That's right. So let's thanks for the question, Jamal. Let's dive into Mike Trout, and I'll keep an eye on the comments.
I'll go ahead and share my screen.
All right, cool. If you want to share your screen, I'll make sure it displays.
Out of the park. Give me just a second. All right. Are we up?
We will be. Hang on 1 second. We're going to add you to the stream here. There we go.
Cool. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is bump the trade difficulty up, right? We're going to go very hard and heavily favors prospects. I also normally like to do the ratings weight, so it's like 50-50 between ratings and the 3 previous year stats. So I normally do like 50 there. What do? I think I do like 50, 30. Is that? Yeah, that's 50. All right, cool. So we're 50-50 there.
Cool.
And so that's just so that trading isn't too hard. I mean, too easy. And so first we're going to look at the team, right? Just do a quick overview. You think that's a good place to start?
Yeah, start looking at where the gaps are, maybe where we need to try and deal some bring in some superstars.
Right. So we'll look at how they have it constructed with the lineup and the rest of the rotation in a minute. But so
and
Jason,
how much money we have to spend is good too. Like how much, what free agents.
Yeah, for sure. So Castro is a catcher, and he looks like he can be our starting catcher with that 70 ability. Like, we're cool there.
I know him well. He currently plays for the San Juan Zephyrs.
Cool.
Backing up Austin Hedges, of course.
Right. So Jared Walsh is our first baseman, and he's not very good. We also have Pujols playing DH, so I'm not too worried about first base. I think this team has bigger holes, but if we can find an upgrade there, we'll do it. David Fletcher is a pretty competent second baseman and a pretty good fielder. So, I think we're good there at second base. Third base, Rendon, we're obviously good. Shortstop, Simmons is one of the best fielding shortstops in the game. We're good there. Left field is definitely an area of concern. Justin Upton is overpaid. He's not a good fielder. And I don't know, I mean, the game still has him as an okay enough hitter.
Yeah.
But left field would be an area that I would love to upgrade.
Now, would you keep is Upton good enough to keep as a DH, or if we can't unload him, would we make him a DH? And is Pujols, is he good enough in the field that he wouldn't be too much? We wouldn't take too much of a hit defensively if we tried to put him at first base.
I don't know. We'll check. So with Upton, yeah, we could DH him, but he also takes on a ton of money. So depends on what we do with the money that we bring in. Like if freeing up like 10 million of this would help us out, I think it'll come down to that.
It would be great
to unload DH though. Just have a guy that can hit bombs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking if we can't get rid of him, then maybe we DH him because I feel like we need better defense out there.
Right. And so then we've got center field Trout. Right field is Goodwin, but it's actually Ohtani too, because Ohtani's pitcher, but he's not a good fielder. I didn't realize he was such a bad fielder in this game. So he should probably actually be our DH and number one starter because he's a great hitter. You can see his hitting stats over here. I mean, he won the MVP like 2 or 3 times in my sim. He's great. So I would love to bring in a different right fielder, a different left fielder, have Ohtani DH, and have Pujols and Upton off the team. I don't know if that's going to happen though.
It's amazing that a team that in the LA market with a lot of money to spend already, just that they don't have a better team around some of the guys they've already committed to. If you look at, the left side of their infield at third base and shortstop is solid. They've got Trout on this team.
Right.
And Pujols still, and just it's interesting that this team isn't constructed better yet.
Right. And then
that's where we come in.
Right. That's where we come in. It would be nice to upgrade some of the hitting. I do think with like Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon, like that's not nearly as much of an issue as this pitching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know, man. Here, let's look at the rotation. Like Ohtani, we know he's awesome, right?
Right.
Haney's fine. Like Haney's, if we're trying to win a World Series, I think we can get away with him in the rotation. I don't want him as our number 2 starter, though.
No. I mean, maybe you're 4 or 5. But
right.
If we're going to win the World Series, he can't be one of the big 3.
Right. And same thing here with Julio Teheran. He needs to be gone. Like he should not be in our rotation. Did you, by the way, brief tangent, I went in like 2010 to a Frederick Keys game, and they were playing the Braves A-ball affiliate, and saw the most dominant pitching performance I've ever witnessed in person.
I think I was at this game with you.
Yeah, Julio Teheran was that pitcher that day.
That's amazing.
We were sitting on the third base side pretty low. We were there with some of our mom's side of the family.
Okay, I vaguely remember this game.
Yeah.
Is that the game also where they had a first baseman, I think he was, who I kept an eye on for a little while, and I think he kind of flamed out. They had
I don't remember.
What's that?
I don't remember.
So there was a guy, I think it was the same game that we saw play, where they had a first baseman who was just hitting bombs, and I can't remember his name. I have to go. At one point I knew it, but I think he kind of flamed out. But he was the other guy I was keeping an eye on in that game.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I did not remember who the pitcher was that day, but I do remember seeing somebody just dominate.
Gotcha. So same thing with Bundy. Would love for him to not be on this team. Patrick Sandoval, like I'd be okay with him like as a long man maybe, but he's also 23, so he might be a guy that has decent trade value as a young arm.
Right, with the win now approach. We
right, and then here, this will actually be a quicker. Let me do this. Like our bullpen is just not good. Like Ty Buttrey is a 50 overall with 55 stuff, and he's our best bullpen arm.
Yeah.
We've got a couple 40s and 45s in our bullpen. So that's the team. Like we need to bring in multiple starters, multiple bullpen pieces. I think that's more important than the offense for now. And so money-wise, so we only have $17 million, but because we're going all in this season, like I say we put $0 into scouting, $0 into development. And for anybody who wasn't tuned in the beginning, we're doing 1 season with the Angels. So like I don't care if he scouts for the draft, right? Like,
right.
So let's just zero these out, right?
I think so, unless you want to try to keep it somewhat realistic, so that we don't make
it might not let me do 0. Maybe it only lets me do 4.
We don't want to make it too easy.
I don't think it's going to be winning a World Series in 1 season. I don't think it's going to be too easy of a task.
Okay.
Okay, it only lets us go to 4 and 6.
Okay, cool.
And then, but there's also then the draft budget and the international free agent budget. We're not going to sign an international free agent this year. I wonder why this isn't showing our prospects here. That's weird.
That is odd. We're getting some suggestions from the commenters.
Oh, cool. I have my screen up and I can't see it. Do you want to?
Let's see. I'll go through them. So AM Edits said, go get Bauer.
Okay.
Will says Chris Archer is sneaky good.
Okay.
AM Edits also wants us to go to the Padres and get, is it Lucchesi? How do you pronounce that name?
Oh, Joey Lucchesi. Yeah.
Lucchesi? Is that what it is? Okay. I've never heard his name in a broadcast, so I have no idea how it's said.
Yeah.
And Will says, and Cheap from the Pirates.
Cheap?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I can't see the screen. I'm out of the park. So draft budget.
Like the word cheap. I don't know if you say go get somebody cheap from the Pirates. Is there a guy named Cheap?
You talking about Archer? Is that the guy who recommended Archer?
Maybe, yeah. Get Archer from the Pirates. I was like, is there some pitcher last name Cheap I don't know about?
So here's what I did. I took the scouting and development down to 4 and 6. We're not doing an international free agent this year. And I did the draft budget. I messed it up. About half of our slot amount. So we'll keep like a little bit for the draft, $3 million. Let's just do $3 million even here.
Cool.
And so now we have $51 million to spend this year. Why is it doing this?
All of a sudden?
Yeah.
That's a huge amount you just freed up.
Yeah, dude. I have no idea what's going on. I've never had this happen before where the prospects don't load.
Yeah, that's very strange.
But I can show you our prospect pipeline here. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's because we're not to opening day yet, and this is the first season. So maybe when that top prospect list comes out on opening day. No, I don't think that's right, actually. I think I don't know why it's doing this. But anyways, we've got some pretty decent prospects. Like Joe Adell is one of the best prospects in baseball, and maybe a guy who can help us this year. But we can probably package him for guys who are definitely going to help us this year. See, I mean, like in a year, he's going to be great, right? Are you still there?
I'm here. Sorry, I had a visitor come into the
Gotcha.
to the office here, into the
Gotcha.
the administrative offices of the
Some of
California
your staff need you to sign something. So
LA Angels. Yeah. I think somebody was faxing me something.
So we've got Joe Adell here, who would definitely help our team this season. But at 20 years old, man, I don't know if I'm ready to count on him in a do or die season. So I think he's a guy we can trade. Honestly, one of the things. So there are a couple players. Those were some good suggestions we had of players to check out. I had a couple players in mind as well. One was, so in this game, when you start, the Yankees are basically ready to give away Giancarlo Stanton.
Yes, I've noticed that too.
Because his contract's terrible, right?
And the reason I never do it is because you end up with having to hold on to him for so many years.
Right.
But for one season right now, we don't care.
And I honestly, what I want to see is if we say, yes, we'll take Giancarlo Stanton.
Upton. Get rid of Upton.
We could swap a bad deal for him. Or I'm wondering if we could, I'm wondering if we could possibly get them to include Garrett Cole in the deal.
Because they'd be so grateful for us to take the one contract off their hands.
Yeah, they're so ready to get rid of Stanton in this game. So that's one deal I had in mind. And the other thing, so he would then go into left field for us, right, if we did that. And the one other thing that I had in mind is in my sim, in like 2022 or so, the Red Sox are basically sick of Alex Verdugo's attitudes, and they get rid of him for really cheap. I don't know if that's the case in 2020, but he'd be a really good right fielder for us.
Yeah.
So
I like these moves.
So let me. I'm going to pull down my out of the park screen for a second here, and see. So, okay. So I'm just looking at these. Cool. So yeah, Archer is cheap. All right. Bauer. Cool. All right. So those are some of the suggestions. I'm going to start messing around with. I'm going to go to the Yankees here. And I'm just going to see, like, if we put Stanton in a deal. Like, I'm sure they'll do it for nothing. Like, if I just put in this 20 rated guy, right? Of course they like that. So now what I'm curious to see is like, all right, but we'd also like Garrett Cole. And they're obviously not going to do this, and I can't even afford it. But so they're going to need to eat like 10 million. Man. All right, so he says, please get back to me when you have a serious offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick Joe Adell in here and see what they say. He still thinks it's a joke. All right. I'm going to stick Brandon Marsh in there and then see what would never accept this deal. All right. Let's do a make this work and see where they're at. No player. Okay. How about this? Our second best prospect? He's still not really biting on this. All right, they're still really nowhere near thinking that this is something they should do. He thinks it's the worst offer he's ever seen in his career. That seems a little harsh, sir.
Yeah, this guy's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, so I guess that idea isn't going to work. I mean, we're giving up like our four best prospects, and then I don't know this Austin Warren. I'm not sure who he is, and they're not really down with this.
And that's with Cole only, or
yeah, Cole and Stanton, but they're eating 45% of the deal, so we can afford him.
Right. So what about just to get Stanton?
We can get him. We can get him for basically free, but you want to see if we can maybe get Stanton to play left field and unload some of Pujols or Upton's money?
I mean, Upton is the guy that makes sense to me the most, right? I'd have to look at Pujols again.
Here, I'll pull him up for you. No, Pujols is pretty worthless at this point.
So, yeah, I guess either one that you could get rid of.
This is Al Pujols.
I guess the question is, do you want Pujols as a first base? No, you don't even. I don't know.
We don't want this guy on the team.
So, yeah, do you want Pujols on the team, and do you want Upton on the team at all?
Upton we can live with if we need to.
Yeah, as a potential DH and a backup outfielder. Right.
So let's just see like what we can do. I bet we can do some stuff with Stanton. I don't think they're going to take Pujols because I don't think they'll have any interest in like. Sure, I'll take your bad contract for my 9-year contract. I'm sorry, but I will not accept trades that include vastly overpaid veterans. Well, what do you think Stanton is?
So, I mean, maybe they're separate deals. I mean, maybe you could get Stanton like for nothing and then turn around and deal Pujols.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to get rid of Pujols, to be honest with you.
Yeah, all right.
Because, I mean, I'm sitting here saying we're going to – so if we want to eat 95% of Pujols' deal, he's in. He's in.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if we could get like a different starter or reliever combo from them.
Right. So maybe
get Chapman or Tanaka or something in the deal.
Yeah. Any of those guys would be an upgrade.
None of these guys are great, but were there any other suggestions in the comments yet
from the Yankees?
Just in general.
Will mentioned that Cole is not tradable. He said it's a waste of time. And then there was a lot of talk about Archer. We could get Stanton for Upton, and Adele might get it to work.
Yeah, I don't really want to. I feel like we can get Stanton for nothing, so I don't want to throw Adele in there. I'm fine holding on to Upton if we need to, Because I think Adele could help us bring in another pretty serious piece.
Yeah. So
here we got a nothing prospect in for Stanton, which of course they're going to take. But like now we can. I thought he was maybe going to eat a little bit more than this for free. So to get 15%, let's see what kind of names he's talking here. Wow.
Will's saying that if you do Adele and Upton for Stanton, that you can't get the Yankees to retain. And I guess that's just because they don't like the up.
Right. That makes sense. So here, let's throw this nothing relief. So at this point, I mean, do we want to let's come back to Stanton. I'm not sold he's the dude we need to go for. I mean, I don't know. He's really good for 1 year. But I'm wondering if, like, we would be able to get – I've never tried to trade for Chapman in this game. Oops, that's not who I wanted. I'm curious if that's something – oh, they'll just throw in Chapman. Huh. So our money would drop to $12 million, though. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Can you hear me? Because my camera went out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I'll see if I can fix it. So you'd get Chapman and Stanton, and they would hang on to 50. They'd keep
only 15%. So our available money would go down to $13 million. I think we should come back to that. I don't know if we need to do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it quite yet.
Before we get to some of those suggestions, I'd like to see. So in my sim, Verdugo is super, super cheap because they don't like his attitude. Is he in the minor leagues or something for them here? Oh, he's hurt. How long is he out for? 3 to 4 weeks with a stress fracture in his back. All right, no thanks. All right, so let's go to Pittsburgh and let's see what we can do with Chris Archer.
Cool. And then who's Paddock play for right now? San Diego in this game?
Yeah.
Got
somebody say he's cheap?
Yeah, they're saying we should look and see if we could deal Adele and Upton there.
Okay.
Myers is another guy we could get there.
Yeah, Myers, I'm sure they'll be looking to get rid of that contract. All right, so let's see. Let's just see if, like, for a nothing prospect, if they're just trying to get rid of Archer. No, they're not. They're not into that. All right, let's see what kind of pieces they're looking back. Okay, so I'd rather not trade Adele for Archer, but I'm going to build around Adele. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find out what other players they like through making them think we're willing to include Joe Adele here. Let me know if there's any suggestions that come in. So now we're just going to, and this is kind of one of the tough parts about not knowing the depth of their system that well because we just hopped on in here. But here we're just going to throw in like random dudes to try to get them to take a trade. So like Ortega is a 23-year-old pitcher whose current rating is a 35. So we're willing to put him in. And I'm going to keep ticking this up. And this is just to identify players that they might like. So then we can take Adele out of the deal.
And we got more comments coming in. JP was asking what positions we're looking for. So I guess just to recap, we were talking about what can we do basically in the outfield other than Mike Trout. Like he's our one steady out there. What we need to improve in the outfield. We feel like we've got shortstop and third base definitely covered. And we feel like catcher's pretty good, really good. And we need to look at, what can we do basically anywhere else.
The pitching staff, to me, is the biggest concern.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm trying to just find some prospects that they're interested in that aren't Adele. Berea is a decent pitcher, but because some of these guys are almost major league ready, but I don't know if they're going to help us this year.
Yeah, and Will is saying that we might want to look at Austin Hayes from the Orioles, that he's great for one season, or Conforto from the Mets.
Oh, okay, cool. So let's see. Tommy LaStella is like probably our utility infielder, who's also making $3.25 million, and they're willing to take him in this deal. I'm almost tempted to give him up over anybody else. So this is what the deal would be, and then we can see if they're willing to include anything else like a reliever. So it'd be Oliver Ortega, who's a 23-year-old pitching prospect, Tommy LaStella, who's our backup infielder, Jose Suarez, who is a 22-year-old pitching prospect, Chris Rodriguez, who is a 21-year-old pitching prospect, and Jaime Berea. I think it's Jaime. I think is how he says his name. Might be Jamie, but who's a 23-year-old pitching prospect. I just wonder if we're trading too many of our depth prospects to be able to make other trades with. All right, they're not willing to deal Nick Birdie. Noted. What about Kella? He tries to fight people in your locker room. Don't you want to trade him? All right, so yeah, we got that possible deal for Archer. I don't hate that deal. You also want to take a look at the Padres. Yeah, so Will Myers is definitely a guy that they'll be willing to get rid of because his contract's bad, but he's not. I don't know. If we could get a lot with him, maybe he could play first base for us. I'm not really sure he's an upgrade over what we've got now, and he's cost $20 million. Hosmer's another guy who, if we took him, I'm sure we'd be able to get a lot. Yeah, Paddock. Let's see what's going on with Paddock. One thing we forgot to check is I don't know much about the Angels ballpark, which I'm sure somebody watching might. Just in terms of shoot, I'm drawing a blank here. Where's the ballpark? Oh, there it is. All right. So it's a little high on home runs, but not too bad.
Okay.
Not too bad in terms of home runs. It's not Camden Yards, but there's definitely a decent amount of home runs. Do we have any more suggestions coming in of guys to check out?
No, just more talk about San Diego. Adele Upton there. And then we could get potentially two outfielders and a pitcher from there.
All right, let's see what we can do. So let's do Adele. And Upton. And so I'm thinking Will Myers will probably have to be one of those outfielders. And we can't really play him at outfield. We'll play him at first base if we get him. So because I'm sure they'll want to be rid of him. Oh, wow. They're saying they won't even do Adele and Upton for Will Myers? No. Well, that's surprising. Because Myers' contract is as bad as Upton's.
We might need to get a couple other guys. Go back up to the top.
Of our team, or?
Yeah, so we've got Myers in the outfield. This is what AM Edits is saying. He's saying he's saying do Adele and Upton. For who's what's this guy's name? Pham, is that how you pronounce it?
Tommy Pham? Yeah.
Pham, yeah. He's saying is that what it is? It's Pham. So
yeah, Tommy Pham,
Paddock, and Myers.
I mean, they're not even doing it just.
Pham's not that young anymore, but we don't care for 1 year. But what his contract like? Because he's in his 30s.
Pham is in arbitration. He's making $7.9 million.
Oh, no, they're not kind of cheap.
So they're not really interested. I'll see if I eat some of Upton's deal. I mean, they weren't even willing to do Upton and Adele for Myers, which is surprising to me.
And Will says Myers is a bum in OOTP.
Yeah, no, he's not great. So here's what I'm thinking. Why don't we identify the team who is most interested in Joe Adele by shopping around and seeing what starting pitchers are offered back to us?
Cool. That's a good idea. Yeah. I like it.
And then we can go to that team and ask for a better starter and include more players. Okay, cool. Because the Archer trade seems okay. I would go back and do that trade probably. Yeah. I don't know if it's because of the broadcast or whatever, but it's really slowing my machine down here as it looks around for trades. Interesting. Might be asking too much of the old MacBook Air here. We're getting a good slow reading of the names up there in the top left. The only thing I can think of is it's crunching the numbers so much because you've got so many offers coming in. It is a lot. I saw Kevin Gossman's name up there, who is actually really good in this game in 2020. But I think we can do better. Is he still with the Braves in this? No, the Giants. All right, so the Diamondbacks are interested. I don't know if they have anybody we want. So Dylan Cease is just not matured enough yet. Let's just see who the best pitcher is on the list first. So there's Bauer, who's a freaking beast. That's interesting to me. Yeah. Some of the commenters want you to get Bauer. Yeah, I remember seeing that. So Matthew Boyd, no, we're not doing that. These two starters for the Marlins are fine. I mean, Bauer's the clear front runner right now. Joe Musgrove is decent, but he's not Bauer. Jacob Nix is a young pitcher. There's Gossman. All right, so let's go talk to the Reds. So what I'd like to see is if we include other players. Well, let's start by seeing, do they have other guys that they might be willing to deal that could help us? Like Jesse Winker's a decent outfielder, decent hitter. And let me know if anybody has any ideas. Moustakas can play all over the diamond, I think. Oh, only second and third in this game. All right.
What does it do for our money? We're going to drop. So we drop by 17 million.
Yeah, 17.5 as the deal is now.
Right. So you're going to see who else we could get that might be able to help us before you look at whether they'll retain salary.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure they will retain salary, but yeah.
All right. Let's see. Iglesias is a good reliever. All right, so they're willing to put in Iglesias too. He makes a lot of money. So Raciel Iglesias is a pretty good reliever. His movement's not great, but he's got really good stuff and 2 awesome pitches. I think this is a decent deal, but I'd love to get like another since they're willing to do this, I'd love to be like, all right, cool. Like, what if we want Sonny Gray too? Like, how many more prospects is that going to cost us, kind of thing?
Right. And can we still save money off Bauer's contract? Sonny Gray's not cheap either. He's 10 million something.
So he says I must be joking with that offer. So let me just make this work. Cool. So I'm going to just do something. We're not actually putting Rendon in this trade, but I'm going to add him. And then I'm going to ask them to slowly eat some money and see what other players they like to see if we can build a package to where then we can take Rendon out, if that makes sense.
And another suggestion in the comments, Will saying that Barnhart's a great defensive catcher and they always want to dump him.
Okay. Cool. So I'm just looking for like prospects that are like rated 20 currently, because they're just not going to help us. Barrio is in that Archer trade, but we can do that. All right, so now we're going to take this down to 0. We're going to take Rendon out of the deal. He's not too happy with that. So Haney, Ohtani, and Rendon, I don't see the point in dealing Haney to get Gray. I don't know. What do people think about this? I mean, we could do Adele for Bauer and Iglesias. That's not a bad deal.
If you do Adele for Bauer and Iglesias, will they keep some of Bauer's salary?
Let's see. Yeah. So they'll keep 35%.
So, but our money drops by 20 million because Iglesias isn't cheap either.
Right.
So do we need Iglesias this bad, or do we remove Iglesias from the deal to see if they'll keep even more, retain even more of Bauer's salary?
Yeah, it's only $9 million, and we need bullpen help bad. But yeah, I can see.
The only reason I ask is because bullpen help is easier to get.
Right. No, they're actually not willing to do the deal if I take Iglesias out. So they want to get rid of his salary.
Salary too. Okay.
We're good at catcher. I think we have a 70 and a 65 for catcher ability, so we don't really need Barnhart. Okay, so that's that's a pretty good offer.
Yeah. Oh, and we have a commenter, JM, was asking, am I behind? Is this something besides the Orioles? And yes, but the fake Orioles are still happening. And there's a new episode up today, right? Didn't you put a new one up today?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just something else we're doing where we're just seeing if in one season only we can build a good enough team to get Mike Trout a ring. So we're just playing just this single season out with the Angels.
Right.
We just started, and we're basically just looking at what are the holes in the roster and who can we add via trade, going all in for one season.
So, what do you think of this deal of using 20 of our $50 million available? We get a closer, we get a number 2 starter behind Ohtani, but we're giving up our best trade chip for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if we shop him around for like an outfielder. What we get back? So remember, we were looking to improve our corners. And I don't know why it's taking so long. There's just some lag here, I guess. The names coming across are not really all that impressive. I'm going to pull up the comments for a second. All right, cool. Yeah, sorry this little screen is taking so long. I'm not really quite sure why. But so we could get Archer. We could basically, I think, get Archer, Bauer, and Iglesias. Our rotation would be pretty solid at that point. We still need some work in the bullpen for sure. And we could use some help, I guess, first base and corner outfield. I think otherwise we're pretty good. But honestly, the offense doesn't concern me as much just because we have some pretty awesome hitters. Never hurts to have a better, to have even better hitters. We could also go back and get Stanton, though, too. We'd still have the money for Stanton if we did this deal with the Reds. So there's not a ton here, it doesn't look like. Yeah, they're willing to go up Stanton. Shocker. Halsey, no. No, Josh Naylor, but he's not fully developed yet. All right, so what do we think? Should we do that deal with the Reds?
It gets us probably – we'd have our 1 or 2 starter out of that deal.
Right, and a really good guy to pitch out of the back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, and I guess my only hesitation on putting Iglesias in the deal is it's a lot for a bullpen arm, I think. Though I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's anybody, if separately there's anybody else out there dumping a bullpen arm that will retain enough of the salary we can get it cheaper, because there's some of those teams that are just looking to unload. He'll be a solid bullpen arm, but can we get by the time somebody retains salary, can we get an even better closer or setup man than him?
Yeah, but I think the issue is we probably need like 4 or 5 relievers.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, you can sometimes find some bargains for relievers that are good middle relief setup. So, yeah, it's not a bad deal.
Right. All right. And Will still wants us to go to get Conforto and Hayes, which we'll do. We'll work on the outfield. What do you think about this deal, though, Will? What do you think about trading our top prospect for Bauer and Iglesias, and we're taking on $19.9 million. We'll still have $31 million left. Let us, or Will or anybody else watching, let us know what you think of that. And Mike, I'm going to go to the Mets real quick and see what they're thinking now. Yeah, let me know if anybody Oops. Comments on that trade for Bauer. So yeah, Conforto's just like in real life, very good. And I'm not going to give up Adele for him because I like that other deal better because we need pitching worse. But what if we Joe Adams is or Jordan Adams, sorry. So they're not down with that. What if I put this Jackson guy in? All right, I'm offering 2 of our top prospects, and they're not really interested. So basically our 3 top prospects other than Adele, and there's no single player who we can add to get Conforto. So Castellanos, I could look at that, but Castellanos is such a bad fielder, I don't know if I want to do that. And honestly, I think we need the bullpen help more, and Castellanos costs more money than Iglesias. Did you have anything in mind for Conforto? He seems pretty expensive. I've never tried to trade for him. We do have the trade difficulty set to the hardest setting. So maybe some guys that might be more readily available. So Austin Hayes we could get.
How easy is Hayes to get?
Like here I've got this guy who's 19 who looks like a really good prospect, but he's not going to help us this year.
Right.
The thing about Hayes is he's not developed yet as a fielder. But he could come in and play right field. I'm just concerned with whether he's ready or not. In my so the OSA thinks a lot higher of him than our scout. Oh, we forgot to hire a new scout.
Who is the current scout? Have you?
That's
you know?
a good question.
I hope he's great.
He's got a good reputation. Yeah, he's pretty decent. He's not very high in Austin Hayes, though.
I mean, the thing about Austin Hayes is we know that in most sims, Austin Hayes ends up being pretty good, but it's just a question of when he'll get good. Will he be good this season?
Right,
and
because we're doing this for just one season, right?
Right. So it could go either way. It's a question of whether or not this is going to be the year he breaks out.
Yeah, but he is cheap, and we don't really have to give up much for him. So it makes some sense to get him. Oh, they want an actual player off our team for him. Interesting.
Will's saying, "Wow, he's normally cheaper."
That's the trade settings.
He's not a bad guy. Oh yeah, you do have the trade settings on a harder setting. He's not a bad guy to get to because. But now that we're seeing that he's going to take more to get him, because I was going to say that even if he's not quite ready, you could put him in AAA and then, or have him be a 4th or 5th outfielder. But he could also be a guy that you get and you put in AAA for the first few months of the season. And if he's really doing well, then you bring him up.
Right.
Yeah, Will's saying that every sim Hayes is MVP caliber for him.
He wasn't in mine. He was solid for 4 or 5 seasons, but he was never great.
I had a sim with him in OOTP 20 where he was really good. And I'd say for 3 seasons he was a really good power hitting outfielder, and then he just kind of fizzled out.
So here's what I'm thinking. We're giving up a lot of prospects to get Archer, but I kind of like it. And then, I like the deal with the Reds too. We basically got our 2nd and 3rd starters as well as our closer. And that'll cost us $19 million in cash or in budget room. And the Pirates deal will cost us about 5.3. We're looking at about 25 of our $50 million we're eating up. But at that point, our rotation's set. I think
you've got the big 3 that you need to go get a World Series.
Right. And we've given up a lot of trade capital, but we still have some left. I don't know. And then we could always go see what we could do with a Stanton trade or something like that, or a different outfielder.
Right. We could, and I mean, we could make these two deals, get Bauer and Archer, add them to the rotation, get Iglesias for the bullpen, and then look and see if there's still anything we have that the Yankees would want to take the Stanton contract off their hands.
Trade and the Bauer trade. What do you think?
You were muted there for a second. Say that again.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why. I said I'm pretty comfortable with the Archer and the Bauer trade. You want me to pull the trigger on them?
I think so. The only thing I was just thinking about, but it doesn't really matter, is just like we're giving up so many guys to get Archer, but nobody's going to help us this year in this group of 5 players.
Yeah, only Listella, but Listella's making like $3.5 million as our utility infielder.
Right, and we can find better utility infielders probably for cheaper. Some Gold Glove caliber infielder, backup infielders with no bat.
Right, exactly. So I'm gonna pull the trigger on these. Any comments on them? Does anybody said anything, or are we good?
Nobody said not to do either of these trades. Just people have been suggesting other stuff. So yeah, I would get Archer and Bauer and Iglesias, and then let's see. Then I feel like our starting rotation is good. Then we just need to look at what other arms we can add to the bullpen, and then go get an outfielder maybe and a backup infielder.
Okay, cool.
And we should check the waiver wire too, and also see who else is out there in free agency in terms of some cheap relievers.
Yeah. There's nobody on waivers yet because it's the first day of the sim.
Oh, I see. As soon as we get to opening day, we might see some activity there.
Right. Okay, so here's the Archer trade. That's done.
Cool.
Now we're going to go to Cincinnati, and this is going to drop our available money to $26.03 million. Let me just make sure they don't want to take on another 5%. I guess I could always bump this up more. Let me see. All right, let me see if we get Bauer up to 45%. They're wanting dudes this dude is a good prospect, though. Yeah, they're wanting. I think it's good I think I'd rather hold on to our trade capital that they're wanting there. Let me see if I do it at 40%. Just see if there's anybody who doesn't matter that we could throw in. Like this 20 out of 20 starting pitcher, we could save another $1 million or so. I'm going to do that.
Cool. So you're throwing, that's going to, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that saved us $1 million. A lot of these guys are either guys on our major league team or some of our better trade chips. I don't want to give them up just to save 5% on Bauer's deal. So yes, we're going to trade Adele and then this dude. For Bauer, they're going to eat $7 million, and Iglesias, they're going to eat $450,000. I'm good with this. We'll have $26.9 million left.
Yeah, still a lot of money to play with.
Yeah, we're good. All right, now let's get these guys on our roster here.
And Will is suggesting that if we want to look for more bullpen help, that we might want to check out Tampa Bay, that they're usually looking to get rid of a guy.
Oh, yeah, probably somebody making money. All right, now we got to send down 2 pitchers who have option years.
Or that just are not that great, which shouldn't be that difficult on this team. I'm sure there's some guys there in the bullpen who are not fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't really want to eat money to send them down.
No, I got you.
Yeah. So Bedrosian's out of option years. Sandoval, I'm sure, has option years. Yeah, Sandoval has 3 option years left. So we're going to send him down. And then we got one more dude we need to send down. Noe Ramirez Milner. Let's see if any. No, he's 29, probably not. Oh, this guy's got 2 option years left. Cool, we'll send him down. All right, so that's that. And for now, we're just going to let our manager do our staff, see what Joe Madden thinks now. So yeah, Otani, Bauer, Archer, Haney. I'd love to get a fifth starter. Tehran, I think, is garbage. And I think we still need some relievers too. So what do you think? You want to check out Tampa Bay?
Yeah, let's check out Tampa. And there's nobody on the waiver wire yet, but did you check free agency for potential relievers?
Yeah, so here Carson Smith is the best rated according to our scout. And he only wants $2.5 million. He'd probably be our second best reliever. I think he's probably worth $2.5 million, don't you think?
Yeah, even if he falls down on the depth chart as we get other guys. It says he's fragile.
That's fine, whatever. We're gonna try to get him for 2 flat, see what he thinks. We'll leave the second year at 2.6 because surprise, we're not paying you that year. But all right, cool. So we have him hopefully coming in for $2 million, Carson Smith. Yeah, there's some other guys out there. Let's check out what's going on with Tampa Bay, though. So, yeah, they've got Alvarado's great. Castillo's good. Yeah, they've got quite a few good relievers. Chaz Rowe. Nick Anderson is awesome. How much is he making, though? Oh, he's making the minimum. Wow. He's going to give up a lot of home runs with that low movement. But let's just see if we just throw in a nobody prospect. I doubt it because he's making the minimum. Yeah, so Anderson is not a guy they're willing to give up cheap. Alvarado is making – wow, he's the minimum too. All these guys are still making so little that I think it's going to be – I would need a lot more in here. Like what, dude? Only Otani. Cool. So Castillo is probably making decent money. No, he's not. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like they're too interested in giving up any bullpen pieces in Tampa.
Are there any teams with people on the trading block right now?
No, there's no trading block yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens as we get – if we sim up to – we can figure out all the moves that are worth making now, and then we can sim up to opening day, check the waiver wire, check the trading block.
Right. I could always go forward one day and see if that does anything. You want me to do that?
Yeah. Well, how long do we have till opening day?
2 days.
Yeah, let's go forward a day and see what happens.
The only thing that's going to do is take away some of our shop trades that we have left. Do you care about that?
Yeah. Is there anybody on the – so here's something else to think about is before we lose some of our shop trade options, is there anybody we don't want on this team that we just want to shop to get whatever we can that might be help us somewhere else? Do we want to shop Pujols? Do we want to shop Upton?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to eat, I think, a significant amount of money. But,
right.
Oops, I did the wrong thing there. But yeah, let's see, if we're willing to eat 80% of Upton's deal and we look for relievers, is anybody even going to bite with anybody worth getting? And it looks like the answer to that question is good. I just saw Will Smith's name come across. Evan nice. Marshall.
Cool.
So, I mean, if we could save, a few million to get rid of Upton and bring in a reliever and, get rid of a few $1 million off his deal, I think that might be worth it. I think our rotation's good. If we can get a fifth starter, that'd be cool. But I think at this point, it's bullpen, left field, right field, first base are the areas I'd love to improve.
Yeah.
So Will Smith is there. I like that for sure. I don't know how much money he's making, though. We'll check that out in a minute. Biagini's okay. Tommy Kahnle from the Yankees, it's pretty decent. Some young arms from the Padres. So, yeah, I think let's see. Will Smith might be making just a ton of money. Yeah, he is. Will Smith is making $13 million this year. That's why they're willing to do that.
What's Upton make again?
21. So let's see if we take some money off this.
Yeah, at which point do they say no?
Right there. So it would cost us $4.6 million to bring in Will Smith, basically.
We'd lose 4.6. So interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he's a really good reliever, but I don't know that we need to pull the trigger on that at this point.
No, let's see what else. Yeah, let's see what else is out there. Different, as we move along.
We could also just trade him for like a lesser reliever and have it save us money. Like there were a couple names on here of guys who were decent. Like Tommy Kahnle, how much is he making? Wait, it took away the. So Kahnle's got really good stuff and 3 good pitches. His movement and control sucks, but he's only making $2.65 million. This is probably. So we could get Kahnle and we'd gain $1.5 million in budget room.
Okay.
What do they think about? Will they retain some money on Stanton for us? No. So we could basically get Kahnle and Stanton for Upton, and we'd only have $4 million left. That's not worth it to me.
No, that's a lot of money to lose. That $21 million to drop in budget is huge.
Yeah. And we could probably throw in prospects and get a better deal there, but so yeah, I mean, Kahnle isn't that's not a bad get to gain. We're gaining $1.5 million, but we don't really have a decent left fielder to replace Upton at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say, we don't want to do this deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Any other people have ideas on people we could get?
I had another question for you about free agency. Is there anybody out there right now in free agency that's a great glove that we want as backup infielders or outfielders?
Let me check that. I think we're pretty good on backup outfielders.
And then the other thing I was going to ask, related to free agents or just when we look for trades, what's the defensive ability, the catcher ability like on our backup catcher right now?
I think it's good, but I'll double check that in a second.
Will was saying that's a good deal. You do that deal all day from the Yankees. I'm just worried about how little it leaves us in our budget.
Like, is he talking about with or without Kahnle?
He was saying,
I mean, with or without Stanton.
I think he was probably saying without Stanton.
Yeah, which that gains us some budget room.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some decent outfielders out here that we can sign. There are also probably some. Yeah, I mean there are people to be had out here who could play. Well, that guy's not good enough, but who could play utility roles for us.
Will saying trade Upton for Kahnle and then go get Hayes. But
yeah, the Hayes
expensive. Like
there wasn't anything.
They wanted a guy off the roster. Yeah, they wanted somebody off the roster. For Hayes, it looked like it was hard to get without giving up somebody on the roster.
Yeah, Hayes deal I don't think is happening. Man, I mean, in some ways, like for one season, like bringing in Stanton, like makes a lot of sense. I think it's a ton of budget room, but let me go back to it. I'm wondering if we try to throw in additional pieces if we can get it. Because I think Stanton for one season is a pretty big upgrade over Upton. Like Stanton will have 1 or 2 great seasons left if he stays healthy. So let's just see like if there's pieces we can throw in to where they'll be like, yeah, let's do this. Nope, not looking like it.
Well, what about that there's that 19-year-old. Did you see
that? I just threw one of our prospects in.
Yeah,
Jeremiah
I think it's
Jackson.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And does that let us take the salary down at all?
It got us to 15% instead of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're wanting guys off our roster, which is fine. Let's see. Because Milner could basically be replaced by Canely. Yeah, they're not really having it. So here, our available money would drop by $18 million. We'd be down to $7 million. And we'd be basically swapping Stanton for Upton, which I think is, for one season, is a pretty good upgrade. I think Stanton is still significantly better than Upton in this game. And we'd be getting Tommy Canely, who would probably be our second or third best reliever.
And our budget would drop down to what, $7 million?
Yeah, 7.1.
So I guess the only questions I'd ask before we do this deal is, does 7 give us two questions really? Does $7 million give us enough space to go out and get any other pieces we need? And then 2, is there anybody else on the roster that we're going to be able to dump salary-wise if we do?
Yeah, I think somebody like Bundy we might be able to dump. How many? We have 2 more shops around. I'm wondering if like Bundy and Tehran, who are basically making like $15 million between them, if we could get rid of either of them, because Bundy's now in our bullpen.
Yeah, Will wants to know if we can get Clint. Will wants to know if we can get Clint Frazier from the Yankees too.
Oh, I'll check that. So what do you think? So we have 2 shops left today, and then we've got 5 tomorrow before opening day. I think one of them is worth trying to get rid of Bundy straight up for a reliever and try to save like a few $1 million. What do you think?
I'd say we should, definitely shop him, especially because he's out in our bullpen now. Let's shop him and see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, nope. No deals offered.
No deal, really?
Yeah.
But you only checked regulars. I guess veterans aren't going to be a good deal either. Like there's not going to be anybody we want.
But I don't know. I always just do regulars when I want major league players.
Okay.
Yeah. I think veterans are included in the regulars, is how I've always seen it, but I don't know that to be the case.
All right. Well, we got one more shop left. Do you want to see if anybody's going to bite on Tehran?
Yeah, they're not going to, though, if they didn't bite on Bundy. I'll try to eat some of the deal, how about, and see what they say.
Okay.
How you doing on time over in your house? You all right?
Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up soon. Our idea to do a quick half-hour dive into the Angels roster is proving to be much more in depth.
Joke's on us, right? All right, so I'm going to shop for a reliever. I'll do veterans and regulars for Tehran, and I'm going to eat 50% of the deal.
All right, cool. Even if we don't eat 50%, we like shopping it that way is good because he might get more people interested.
So these guys all probably cost more money than Tehran, like Melanson.
Britton is going to be expensive.
$14 million. Kelvin Herrera's making $8.5 million. Wade Davis, I know, is making a ton of money. Same with Ian Kennedy. Jake McGee is making $9.5 million. Zach Britton's making a ton of money. Brian Shaw's making $9 million. So I wonder if how much is Kennedy making? 16.5. Jeez, man. So I wonder if we don't need any money, like what they say. No. All right. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work with Tehran.
Okay.
Or Bundy. All right, so here's what we got. We got Otani, Bauer, Archer as our rotation. Haney and Tehran, we'll see. I think Haney's fine as a fifth starter. Iglesias in the bullpen, and then we have that offer out to whoever it was, that reliever for $2 million.
Okay.
I think our bullpen gets pretty bad after that. And then offense-wise, I mean, Brian Goodwin isn't bad. It's not a bad player. I'd love to get one more bat maybe at first base or right field. I mean, honestly, and maybe do that Upton deal too.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, I can't think of anything else better out there that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep an eye on the waiver wire as opening day gets here.
Right. So yeah, so you want
to, and we can also, I feel like this team's going to do well enough to make the playoffs, and I would hope.
Yeah, we're in a tough division though with the, with it, having to beat the Astros to take the division. I think will be tough, and then the wild card is just kind of like a crapshoot. I mean, it's a good team. Yeah, I think with those upgrades we made to the pitching staff, we should be a really good team. I'm a little worried about our offense and our depth, but yeah, I think we've definitely improved this team. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I look at it now and I'm thinking like, okay, bullpen needs some help. We need to make sure we have better backups. Pinch hitters coming off the bench, good defensive players, and then can we improve the fourth and fifth starter? And some of that can be done as the season goes on, especially if there's anybody. If there's anybody out there who's a veteran that we can bring in, I think there'll be opportunities there. We can also see as the season goes on what's happening with some of the minor leagues, like if they have anybody at AAA or AA that we haven't traded away who's having a good season.
Yeah, and guys will appear on the trade block and stuff too. Like I'm sure we can fortify the bullpen in like June and July.
Cool. All right. So then like getting like as we think about like for the next sim, maybe we try to sim up to opening day, check the waiver wire, and then start simming some of the season and start seeing how the team's doing and thinking about what other moves we want to make.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just kind of kick off with opening day next time or something. Make a few more moves maybe and do that.
Yeah. And if you end up simming up to opening day offline, you can even just take a look at the waiver wire and see if there's anybody we should be thinking about.
Right. Cool. All right. I think we've done good work here. I think we've got. I mean, Otani, Bauer, Archer will be pretty tough in a playoff series. I think we're good there.
Totally. If we keep those three healthy, you need the big three starting pitchers for a playoff series. So
yeah,
and then we need to kind of have things kind of play out over the course of the season to see who like our fourth guy would be for when the playoffs get here for the the situations where you need to go with the fourth starter.
And I'll dig into some more trades. Kind of it can take an hour or two, as you can see, to find maybe some dudes. Some other trades.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you putting in these late nights to try to get Mike Trout his first ring.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it because the real life Angels aren't.
Yeah, man. Maybe they run into the same things we are. It's tough out there.
All right, cool, man.
All right, man. Well, thanks to everybody who jumped into the comments. We'll I don't know when we'll do the next episode, but stay tuned.
All right, see ya.
All right, bye.